When the universe was born, was it in a cosmic fire that burst asunder into gigantic swirling vapors that slowly coalesced into the new spinning fires of the universe? What comes in the cycle to the nova and beyond? As the huge spiral clouds of space slowly condense, what do they nurture in their spinning forms? Man seeks to wrest the secrets from the stars, as surely he must, but still is not perhaps the greatest mystery of all the closest, the mystery of the mind of man, for in its depths are to be found many of the secrets that we search for out there, and when we first step to the stars, the power we use will be the mind of man. But still, what wonders lie in the spans of space, in the myriad worlds that turn? Who knows the things there that may move and live, some perhaps tiny living fires that dance the frantic rhythm of life that drives them, and perhaps a crystalline living walking tree that slowly crosses a desert end over end and bends down to drink at a pool. Then, revitalized, it starts again across the desert, perhaps in search of a mate. Who are the beings who might be there when men have said they have seen many strange shapes with lights that signal? What are the forces that stir these gigantic storms on a foreign world, and is there life down there? What are the forms of life that travel their individual pathways of perpetuation, driven by that which is inborn? Alien to us they might be, but they may be a part of the pattern of the universe, even as you and I. But for now, when our eyes look out in wonder, do we speak alone to the sky, or will it one day respond? Somewhere among the myriad galaxies that move their glory through the procession of time, there is a star. It whirls on a spiral arm and carries in its gravitational grasp the worlds that spin round it. And on a green globe, a garden in the sky, held in the warm clasp of the sun, the mother of man, on that green globe lives man, the creature who wonders. Come now to a structure on that world, called the Castle of Chaos, where there lives a man who wonders. Welcome now to the Castle of Chaos, birthplace of dreams, home of the wild and wonderful, where there lives a man who wonders. He lives among strange things like me, and he wonders about man, about the stars, and about wonder itself. What are the thoughts that wend their way through the tangled strands of the human mind? Be that as it may, we are the ones who walk in the world, watch each dark and each dawn unfurled. We are the ones, you and I, who look to the sky and wonder why. We wonder from whence came the dawn and the darkness, and whither goes the mind of man.
Wow, my head was spinning. Here's a box I designed years ago. In fact, it was featured in Omni magazine. I thought it was a great design, but people said, "Jerry, this is crazy. Look, this back upright is in front of the front board. It says it even looks like you're standing in a piece of crooked fence or something." Well, I still thought it was a pretty clever design. And you take another look at it. Doesn't that look pretty good? Now, when you're welding, normally you have to flip the lid up to see when you're not seeing with the arc. I invented this years ago. My chin, when I open my mouth, my chin hinges the two glasses up so that I can see. And if I want to see, I just open my mouth. Here's some things I made out of copper years ago. This is hammered out of a flat sheet. There's a little horse head I sculptured and made the frame for it. Here's a little covered wagon I designed and made out of copper and brass. I melted and cast the brass for the wheels. And here's a little treasure chest. Here's an optical illusion I call Hyper House. It has no moving parts. It's all one piece. But when we move our viewpoint, the house looks like it's hinging open and closed. It has no moving parts. In fact, it looks, if we move the camera around, it looks like it's weaving around in a strange way. Now we're going to show you what it really is. See, part of that house is built inside out. And when you look at it properly, if you're close, you look with one eye, then it looks like a house, and it looks like it's hinging, opening, and closing, which it actually isn't, of course. Now, here's a still picture of the clouds. Now we're going to show you the trizonal space warper. You keep staring right at the very center of this trizonal space warper. This spiral illusion has been around for ages, but what I've done is amplified the after effect greatly by having more zones in it. So you keep staring right at the center until that still cloud picture comes on again, and you will notice that the clouds will look like they're boiling. See how the clouds look like they're boiling? It just lasts for a few seconds and then it fades away. Here's one of my optical illusions. This was filmed in Tokyo on television. Now, if I have an example of two large brass nuts, if I push this straight board through this one, it looks like it has to go around the corner to go through the other one. Now, this is what it actually is. You will see that you're just looking at the inside of this structure. They're not moving independently at all. They're fastened solidly together. Here's my retrofitted keyboard. All of these red key switches are with my thumbs. Carriage, return, cap, control keys, etc., etc. There are heel pads that I put my hands down, molded to fit the heels of my hands, and they move so I can move my hands. This is a little joystick which I can operate with either thumb to operate the cursor. And there are micro switches each side of the heel pads. Now also, this is up on my treadmill, and I get exercise while I'm taking dictation of my ideas off the tape recorder. So over the years, I've thought of many, many ideas. Here's 3 volumes of these, and these are just ideas. They're not the finished thing. Some of it's poetry, science fiction, magic, etc. Scribulation.
それでは参ります。なるほどだ。ワールド新春特番3分。今夜の8時です。こちらオレゴン州のオルバニーという町なんですが、こちらにもある有名なマジシャンの方が住んでいらっしゃるんですね。夜来てくれということで今やってきたんですけど。
My name is Jerry Andrus. I welcome you to the Castle of Chaos, where there are many wonders.
こちらが 視覚トリックの第一人者ジェリー・アンドレスさんなんです。今日はご自宅にお邪魔してこのすごい視覚トリックを見せてもらっているんです。ジェリーさんの持ちネタはこれだけではないんです。もっと他のネタは明日の朝さあ皆さん、この回転する渦巻きの真ん中を中心あたりをじーっと見てください。神経を集中してじーっと見てください。ほら、くるくるくるくるくる回ってますね。ちょっと気分が悪くなりましたが、もうちょっと我慢して見てください。渦巻きの真ん中です。中心あたりをじーっと見てください。もうちょっと我慢して、もう少し見てください。ほら、僕の顔が膨らんだり縮んだりしてみませんか？これも視覚トリックの一つなんですね。
I'm standing inside Box Impossible. It's one of the weird things here at the Castle of Chaos in Albany, Oregon. In fact, this box is so impossible, I can walk right out of it.
あれ？本当に抜け出てきました。
抜け出てきたジェリーさん、ちょっとなんで僕もできるんですか？僕もできる。どれあ、なるほど、こうなってたんですか。こうなっていたんです。わかりますか？わかりますか？ほら、箱ではなかったんですね。これパッと見るとね、木枠を単に組み合わせただけというそんな感じなんですが、これもジェリーさんに考えついたトリックの一つなんです。ですからこれ僕がパッと入ると箱に入ったように見えます。そしてこう出ると箱から出たように見えるんです。でも箱ではなかったんですね。今度はジェリーさんの家の近くの山の中に入ってきました。ジェリーさんは何やら大きな板を、そして僕はこの水準器と呼ばれる機械を持っているんですね。実はこの山の中のごく普通のこの坂道なんですが、ここにある視覚トリックが隠されているんです。ジェリーさん、これどうしてですか？
It's right here.
え？
Right here.
ここで坂道に置いて、さっき持ってきた板と別の板を今3枚重ねて、先ほどの水準器を持ってきて、なるほど、平行に置こうという。Perfect。
はい、それではここで問題です。ジュリーさんはこの板の上でよっちゃんと一緒にどんな不思議な現象を見せてくれるんでしょうか。
さあ、こういう問題でございます。
ね、
はい、まみちゃんからいいか。
まだ行かないでね、言っても。
いるよ、はい。
例えば、水の入ったグラスとかを、板がこうなってるけど、その上に置いても、なんていうのかな、平行の普通の上に乗せてる、テーブルに乗せてるのと同じ状態とか、だから落ちていかないとか、そういうこと。
あれ以上に物を道具を使わないんですよ。
人間使います。
よっちゃんと、それからジュリーさんと2人で。
あそこに乗っかる？よっちゃん。
僕は何も言わないから。
じゃあ、乗っかったら、板の上に乗っかったら、こうならないで、こ
う？つまりね、そう。
なるほど。
板は傾いてるのに不思議なことに人間は垂直に立ってる。
ちょっと行こうと思ってる？
思ってる。
ちょっと待って。
極端に大小が違って見える。
どういうことそれ？
つまり大体同じぐらいの人間なはずなのに、不思議なことにキャメラが横に回り込むと片っぽの人だけは割と背が高めに見えて片っぽが
これは武田君の言う分は正しい。正解です。
まずよっちゃんが向かって右側に乗ります。もともとジュリーさんはよっちゃんよりも身長が7センチ高い。
こうやって。
Now, towards me.
こうですか。
Put your toes right there.
ほう。
Now, where do your eyes seem to?
僕の目ですか？そう、だいたいジェリーさんの鼻の辺、ノーズですね。
Right. Now, my eyes are about there, in the middle of your forehead. Right. Now, let's change places on the plank.
身長差があるんですよ、僕とジェリーさん結構ね。顔ってどうしろって別に変わるわけないよな、顔って。
Look, my eyes hit you right on your nose. Now, you're taller than I am.
あら？本当だ！身長が変わってしまうんですね。あれ？というわけで、正解は身長が変わって見えるでした。水平ですよ。
坂道を水平に戻しただけなのになぜか身長が変わって見える不思議な空間ですね。はい、武田君、まみちゃん結構でございます。
And I'm going to watch him now. Jerry Andrus from Oregon.
Oh, the band has to go down, all right?
Like Harry Blackstone Jr., Jerry Andrus knows that perceptions are easily altered by expectations. He's followed that philosophy throughout his life, along the way inventing illusions for some of the biggest names in magic.
I'm standing inside what I call Box Impossible. And if you look at it, you'll see that there are some impossible things about it. In fact, it is so impossible that if I want to, I can walk right out of this.
Both a magician and an inventor, Andrus knows that years of ordinary day-to-day experiences lead people to make assumptions about reality. We are pre-programmed to see things that don't exist. The artist who can take advantage of this human flaw is a genius of deception. Inside his castle of chaos, Andrus maintains a collection of illusions. At age 80, he's dedicated to keeping his great mind sharp.
I have my computer keyboard up so this treadmill slides underneath it.
Like many creative geniuses, Andrus thrives in quirky atmosphere.
Tape recorder over here.
And he's never content at doing one thing at a time.
And since I'm walking free on the treadmill, I have this strap behind me. And now I can take dictation from the tape recorder, type it into the computer, and get exercise at the same time.
This photograph is a static image. It is definitely not moving, but Andrus knows how to use his genius to reach into our minds and make reality unreliable, replacing it instead with illusion.
Well, they've known about the spiral illusion for years, but I've amplified it greatly by having these different zones moving in opposite directions. Keep staring right at the center. And now, in a few seconds, we're going to show you that still cloud picture, and you'll see that it looks like the clouds are boiling. This represents two large brass nuts, and they look like they're moving independently of each other. Now I have a straight fluorescent fixture tube. I'm going to push it through this nut. It will look like it bends to go around the corner to go through the other one. Now, actually, what happens is you're looking at the inside of this thing, you see.
The genius of Jerry Andrus is his ability to make us see things that defy
Magic, the art of illusion. Medicine, the science of healing. In the next half hour, we will examine both magic and medicine and see how they affect our lives today and may continue to shape our lives in the future. Hello, I'm Peter Ustinov. Throughout history, and especially in primitive cultures, magic and medicine have frequently been united in the person of the shaman, sometimes called the medicine man. In recent times, medicine and magic have become incompatible, but as we move into the future, we may find them cooperating once again in a number of surprising ways. In outer space, for example, our perceptions of reality and illusion may begin to alter radically. If that happens, we may discover that magic has as much to tell us about the truth as science does. Welcome to Omni, the new... He lives in a house called Chaos, where he practices magic and the fine art of independent thinking. Join us as we follow both magic and medicine into the future. Omni, the new frontier. You may be wondering why you're going to see a magician on a science show. Magic and science would appear to have very little in common. The magician tries to fool us by distorting the truth, and the scientist seeks to educate us by discovering the truth. There is one place, however, where the two come together and are compatible, and that place is the human mind, where all perceptions meet as equals. For the most part, magic is a game, a way of entertaining, amusing people, but magic is a game which takes place on the broad frontiers of psychology and perception and offers us additional insights into the study of how human beings see or think they see the world around them, or what they believe to be the world around them.
I'd like to show you what I call the perfect illusion. It's this yellow spot on this sheet of plastic. Now, it is not literally perfect. I call it the illusion of the yellow ball. Now, you will recall that first it was flat like that, and then it was the illusion. There it is, of the yellow ball. You've heard of acupuncture. Well, this is acupressure. Some people believe if you push here, it's for a certain thing, or you push here. I don't believe in it. But look, I've discovered that if I push right here for 3 seconds, this is a treatment for anemia. Now, in anemia, you lack iron. This is far, far better because you get solid steel. Solid steel.
Jerry Andrus lives far off the beaten track here in Albany, Oregon. He's one of the best sleight-of-hand artists in the world. But more than that, he seems to be leading magic into the future in his own inimitable fashion.
Welcome to the Castle of Chaos, birthplace of dreams. My name is Jerry Andrus. Come enter my world.
When you enter the world of Jerry Andrus, you're really entering the mind of an extraordinary inventor, philosopher, teacher, and, above all, a student of human perception. And you never know what he'll come up with next.
I call this the curious cube. Here's why.
Look, if I slowly hinge this panel over from this side to this side, it seems to go through some weird dimension, like it's going through the fourth dimension. Watch. If I hinge this panel up from this side to this side, this is the curious cube, and I'll explain shortly why it's a curious cube.
Leaving you to ponder this assault on your senses, Andrus moves on to more traditional magic. Now he explains the mystery of a curious cube by simply turning it around. An Andrus illusion like this one makes you question your own eyesight.
I want you to keep staring right at the center of the trizonal space warper as it turns. Keep looking right at the center. It doesn't matter whether your eyes are in or out of focus. You look at that for 20 or 30 seconds and your vision is disturbed, as if space itself was being warped.
The center of the picture is absolutely still, but we see it shimmering and rippling in our minds.
From the proper place, the curious crate looks impossible, absolutely, because you see the board, the two before is in front and then behind at the same time, and there's just no way that your mind can accept this unless they were bent or something, which they of course are not. But it has to be photographed or seen from precisely that point for it to look properly. In fact, if you walk up to it, it looks, well, you might say either semi-insane or absolutely insane. It looks nothing at all close up like it does from the proper distance and the proper place.
An Andrus illusion gives our minds visual clues, which may or may not lead us to the wrong conclusions. In this case, the clues tell us that we're looking at a crate. But the more we look, the more we realize that this is an impossible crate, as crates go.
Each one of these things has what is loosely called an electric eye in it, and the way these lights are flashing control different functions of the organ. I did this by experimenting. I don't have a wide knowledge of electronics at all. And some of these things, I built them, you might say, from scratch, bent the metal, planned the whole thing. I made printed circuit boards inside. These are different things that amplifies to give different real strange sounds. There's a spotlight shining back there that throws a wah-wah. This is what I call a paradox box, and I'll show you what it is. It's a negative box, actually, I call it, and I'm going to put this little panel in the corner of the negative box. If I add something to a negative box, it would actually seem to take something away. So now it looks like I have cut off the corner of the box and built the corner in. I'll turn the box so you can get a better view of it. Now, if I punch a hole in there, now there's a hole in the cutout corner that's built in. I'm going to put a tube in the hole. You see, if I turn the box, the negative box, paradox box, back and forth, it looks like the tube is turning, sticking out of that hole like a gun turret. Now let me show you what the paradox box actually is. Look, it is simply a cardboard box. And this is the outside of the cardboard box, and I've painted the inside of the cardboard box so that it looks like the outside of a box.
Once again, Jerry Andrus has challenged our perceptions and won. His inquiring mind helps us to relate the arts of magic and illusion to science and the future. In fact, contemporary theories of how the human mind works are just now beginning to agree with the ideas that Jerry Andrus had 10 years ago.
You know, it has been said to me that a man's work is a reflection of a man's mind. Well, if you look at this work, It is a pretty good reflection of my mind. I have ideas impinging on me all the time about magic and philosophy and music and
Magic. A way of looking at the world which plays havoc with our senses and gives us a whole new perspective on the nature of reality. Stay tuned. I may or may not reappear.
Our first story takes us to the magical realm of master magician Jerry Andrus.
Jerry has nothing up his sleeve, and his hands are not quicker than the eye.
That seeing is not always believing.
Jerry Andrus's house looks innocent from the outside, but inside lurks a strange collection of gadgets that has helped this house become known as the Castle of Chaos.
I was born with an insatiable curiosity, and I've always wondered about things. I've wondered about how nature works. I've wondered about how the human mind works. And so I've experimented and tinkered with things ever since I was a child. Sometimes the doorbell rings, I go out, and it's one of the neighborhood kids, or more often than not, several of the neighborhood kids, and then they want me to do a trick for them, and I enjoy doing that. I'll show you a card trick. You touch two cards that are together in the deck. These two right here. Okay, these are the two I'm going to use. Now you hold the cards. I'm going to show you the two cards you touched. The 6 of hearts and the 4 of spades. Watch. Look at that. Now, some people say, Jerry, where did that dollar come from? I'm going to show you where the dollar came from. It came from right where it is going back. Gone. And there's your trick. You're welcome. You might say that the eye sees, but it's what our mind perceives that we accept as the truth. This is what I call my paradox box. You might be wondering, why do I call it a paradox box? Well, actually, it's sort of a negative box. I'm going to add this panel to it. And if I add this panel, and although I've added something to it, it will look like I have taken something away. It looks like the corner has been cut off and built in. Now I'm going to punch a hole in the corner. Now you can see into the box. And now I'm going to push this steel shaft through these two holes. And you see a very curious phenomenon, as if this straight shaft has gone around the corner. Now I'm going to show you what the paradox box actually is. It's simply a cardboard box that I have painted. This is the outside of a cardboard box. I have painted that so that the inside looks like the outside. And so there you have the paradox box.
This peaceful black and white setting will soon come alive, thanks to one of Jerry's most astounding creations.
This is what I call my trizonal space warper. I'm going to spin this disc. I want you to stare right at the center. This is a disc with 3 zones, sort of logarithmic spirals. Keep your eyes on the center. This is going to give you an after effect very briefly. And I want you to keep staring right at the center of the trizonal space warper. Now we project a still picture on your screen, and it will look like it is moving because you have just been looking at the trizonal space warper. And this effect is sort of powerful right at first, and then it fades out. 10, 15 seconds, it's totally gone.
For those of you who'd like to experience this amazing illusion again, here it is.
Stare right into the center of the spinning disc. Remember, keep your eyes focused on the center. Keep staring. Now, when the still picture appears on the screen again, it looks like the clouds are bubbling and the hills are alive.
Years ago, I saw a drawing, actually it was in a magic magazine, of one of these impossible figures. It looked like a box, a crate type thing.
I wondered immediately, I wonder if I couldn't actually build one of those things and photograph it. And so what I did is I took little matchsticks and I glued them together and put them in a certain configuration, and then I looked at it and saw that this looked like it was possible.
After weeks of careful planning, Jerry set out to build his most mind-boggling illusion.
Jerry created an elaborate arrangement of boards and ropes to form a box that should not be able to exist.
In case you're wondering how this baffling box works, a board in the rear passes in front of a board in front, and a board in front passes behind a board in the rear. It's as simple as that.
As we move towards the crate, the illusion slowly disappears. The sides of the box shift and no longer meet.
Closer inspection shows how the boards have been painstakingly arranged. Ropes tied to the boards seem to be holding the illusion together.
When we are fooled, normally, we're not fooled because we're not perceptive nor not knowledgeable. We're fooled because our mind is working the way it should.
We wanted to see more of this incredible perceptual magic firsthand. So please welcome Jerry Andrus. Welcome. That's fascinating stuff. Jerry, what would you like to start with?
Well, let's start with this. These represent two large brass nuts. They're fastened solidly together. If I turn them, they may look like they are not, but they're fastened solidly together. And the strange thing about it is if I put this straight metal shaft through here like this, it seems to violate some natural law. It looks like it has to be bent going around the corner to go through this hole and that hole. Actually, these are reversed. They're built in reverse. Where the hollows are, you tend to see humps. You see, and they're not nuts at all, but yet they look very much like it, and that's why your mind is fooled into thinking these are humps instead of hollows, and the shaft looks like it's bent going through.
Isn't that a great illusion? What else did you bring?
Well, I have a little model here, a very crude model of towers, like in a city, those skyscrapers. This is made out of wood, and it's just plugged on. They're all fastened solid to this thing. And it's an interesting thing. I have a large steel ball bearing here, and if I put it at the base of this skyscraper, without any threads or trick photography, it'll roll right up to the top. Now watch. If I put it down here at the base, it will roll right up here to the top. Now actually, there's no violation except our mind perceives something for what it is not. Also, this building, if you had a large earthquake, it wouldn't fall over because it's very flexible. But actually, this is just a piece of tin. This looks like a hump when it's a hollow. These others are square blocks. And when this is put down in that position, and when the camera sees it or the eye sees it, it looks like it is standing up and looks like a tower. So the ball looks like it is rolling uphill, but it's actually rolling down.
Thank you, Jerry Andrus, for sharing your incredible magic with us.